Hello and welcome back to the Opposites Abroad podcast, a podcast about all things travel. Charlie Bosco here, joined as ever by my good friend TT, at Traveller Tattooed on Instagram, who is down in Denver. And for once, it's been me that's been away on a trip recently. I was on Vancouver Island last week. Pretty relaxing. Zero culture whatsoever, unless you count going to baseball games and eating fish and chips. I guess that's culture. But yeah, we'll have to do an episode one time on the island, but I think a better way of doing that would be if you and me met there. And
that would be fun.
Because it's one of the few places in North America you haven't been.
How far is it from you?
So we drive 4 hours to Vancouver, then there's the ferry, which is 2 hours, and then where we stay is about an hour off the ferry. So 7 hours door to door, but with all the, you know what it's like at ferries, you got to get there early, and there's a bit of clowning around, so it's a full day, it's a full journey each way. But we also have a direct flight to Victoria multiple times a day, so easy for me to fly. But love the island. It's the third time I've been, and we'll do an episode on it one time, but we'll actually go.
Do you feel like more at home there since you're from an island?
As soon as I get onto an island, I just feel happy. Yeah.
I figured.
I think the one lesson that the Vancouver Island, could take from England and Britain is that it should vote to be independent and get out of this union that's tying it down and holding it back economically, which is the rest of Canada. I think Brexit's been an inspiration for the people of the island. No, it's very English feeling. That makes me feel at home. They have real pubs. You would love it. You know, in front of the bar, there's a kind of metal brass pole that you lean on. They have that. They have beer towels. They have old-fashioned decor. They have bars with no TVs. It's great.
Yeah, I actually would like that. Is it like British pub food, or what do they eat?
Yeah, you can get
poontang or whatever that's.
Poontang. That's slightly different, actually. Yeah. Well, I had the best fish and chips of my life. And I'm English, and I will say it was the best fish and chips of my life. But yeah, in the pubs you can get pies and stuff, real English food, pie and peas and stuff. So, but there's a ton of English people there, because if you're gonna live in Canada, it's the most English place. So and it doesn't snow, or it very rarely snows. So it's about the only place in Canada you can live where you know it's not going to snow all winter. So yeah, it's a great place. We'll have to meet up there sometime. But
I've heard it's really cool.
Yeah.
Did you work out when you were there?
I did not work out that much. No, I'd blown my back out pretty severely. So I did some push-ups. The one thing I can do is push-ups. So I'm basically doing prison workouts, which is just try and do 200 push-ups. Not the prison. I can see you grinning. I know.
I wasn't gonna say anything about prison workouts.
I can live with prison workouts. The prison shower I don't need. But speaking of working out, we're talking, ironically, seeing as I'm sitting here with a partially herniated disc, just crippled, shifting around in my chair, but we're actually talking about how to stay in shape on the road. And I think you and I are pretty similar. Neither of us are Olympic athletes. But we're both,
speak for yourself.
Well, yeah, there was that time you won the 400 meters back in Sydney. Oh, no, that was Michael Johnson. Yeah, sorry. Neither of us are Olympic athletes, but we're both in pretty good shape for men of our vintage, and also as men of our vintage, you understand that you have to work at it a little bit to stay in shape. It's not something that just happens naturally, which is crushing.
It is crushing. It takes a lot to look like this.
You see, I think you could get quite skinny fat, and your tats would just cover it up.
You know, there's some truth. I should have got. Over my stomach, I should have just got like a 6-pack, tattooed.
I saw a guy on TV who did that once.
Was it a 6-pack of beer, or was it a 6-pack of?
No, he got kind of like a shadow.
Yeah.
Tattooed, so it looked like he had a 6-pack. I mean, it would have looked pretty weird when he aged and all the lines kind of faced downhill. And,
yeah.
He also got in between the two parts of his tricep. He got kind of shading done there to accentuate his tricep, but. Of all the tattoos that are going to go wrong as you age, I feel like one based on your muscle structure is definitely one of them.
Would you get a tattoo to accentuate anything?
The problem with accentuating that is you just run out of space. There's nothing to accentuate. I wish I could get one that accentuated my height a bit. That'd be great.
You could just get vertical stripes.
Yeah, I could. Like a zebra. Just it's an optical illusion. It's actually smaller than a horse. But no, we're both in good shape.
You're in better shape than I am, because like I look like I'm okay shape and I can walk a long distance, but I can't hike 14ers and jump off of mountains and do all the crazy stuff you do. Like I just can't do it. Plus, I'm a lot older than you, I think.
Yeah, I reckon you could probably out bench press. I reckon I could probably out pull up you, but you'd out bench press me, would be my guess. Don't ask me what I bench press, because I have no idea.
How many push-ups can you do?
To failure?
Yeah.
I don't know. 40? I don't know.
Okay, yeah, I can do 41.
Well, I can do 10 pull-ups as well, and I'm guessing you can do 11.
I can do 11. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well, forget that then. I'm probably better at hiking up mountains, but you're better at everything else.
So, when you go on trips, do you generally work out in the gym? Do you work out like body weight in the hotel, or what do you do?
So I think that my number one tip to be fit on the road is to be flexible, because it doesn't really matter what you do. So I read a great article one time about the 10 commandments of lifelong fitness, and number one was, it doesn't matter what you do, just do something. Because when you're 60, 70, as you age, if you're still fit and healthy, it won't matter whether you lifted weights on some random Thursday when you were 40 or you went for a run. It won't matter what you did. It'll just matter that you did something, and over a lifetime that will accumulate and compound into a lifelong fitness. So I think for me, number one thing is be flexible. Sometimes you got half an hour, you got no gear, and I think, right, I'm going to start a timer. Every minute I'm going to do 8 push-ups or whatever it is. In half an hour, you done a lot of push-ups. So keep it simple, be flexible, use whatever you got. How about you?
I actually learned that from you, because I think it's really easy with anything in life to get caught up in, well, I don't have enough time for that, so I'll wait till I have enough time. And you were the one who told me one time, if you do 10 push-ups a day, that's almost 4,000 push-ups a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, you're right. And it's so easy to be like, it's Monday, I'm planning on working out. Oh man, I got to do this other stuff. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow. Okay. And your whole life passes by without doing anything. And I think the same can be said for other things that we should all do a little bit every day, like reading. And it's easy for people to say, I'm not going to read tonight because I just don't have time. But read one chapter, read a few pages, and it really adds up. And on trips, I tend to do the same thing, where I will do push-ups or I will do dips from off the bed. I've even done it where my hotel room is like little tiny and there's really not enough space to do a proper push-up. So I'll do push-ups off the kitchen counter, just to do something, or sit-ups, or just something. And then if I'm somewhere when I'm walking a lot, maybe I'll do a little bit less. But I think it's really, really important to do that stuff. And I learned that stuff from you.
And you can't get too hung up on it. If you have a day where it doesn't happen and you've had a really fun day, it doesn't matter. You don't have to train every day. But the mental sharpness you get, and the feeling of well-being, and the feeling of sitting down and having a big dinner and thinking, hey, I really burned some calories earlier. I'm hungry. I'm ready for this meal, I think is so important to me when traveling. That's why when you get off a plane, you feel like death. I mean, part of it's the recycled air and the crappy food, but I think a huge amount of it for me is you haven't moved, and your metabolism's kind of grounded, stopped.
Grinding.
Ground to a halt. So I think being flexible and just doing something is key. And someone said to me once, if you read for 10 minutes a day and run for 10 minutes a day, 6 days a week, you can have Sunday off, don't read. 10 minutes a day of running, 10 minutes a day of reading. At the end of the year, you've run for 52 hours and read for 52 hours. That's a lot. That's a really meaningful amount of both exercise and reading. So, just being flexible and finding a way to do something. So, I mean, there's a few things I really do. One of them is I download offline maps on Google so that I never can't find a walk. I know you're an avid city walker, but just get the map offline, have it ready before you go. And as soon as you arrive, you can just get hiking, you can get moving. And then the other thing I've always done as well is I kind of, maybe this is pretty geeky, don't judge me, but I download workouts. And once you've read 50 workouts that you can easily get for free, just Google hotel room workout, you'll get some great stuff. Once you've got a dozen movements that you know you can do and rep structures, you give me a hotel room, I can come up with something, even if it's just 8 push-ups on a minute every minute for 20 minutes. Something like that. But I mean, I remember someone saying to me, I don't have time and space to work out. I said, do 100 burpees as fast as you can. See how fast you can do 100 burpees. You will be so tired you will not be able to brush your teeth the next day. Your arms won't work. And someone truly fit can do 100 burpees in 6-7 minutes. So you really have no excuse. Just use what you got. I love going to a gym that's really well equipped and I can do some complex workout with ropes and bars, but if all I've got is a Japanese hotel room and there's literally room to do push-ups and squats, I'm still good. So use what you got.
Yeah, and I've used my backpack before, just like to do like overhead lifts with it, just to do something, and you can do. I'm trying to think what else you can do. Just like air squats, in a bathroom is something. If you haven't walked a bunch. I do like walking a lot, and I try to walk 5 miles a day when I'm traveling, and I keep it on my phone, and I really try to get to 5 miles. Sometimes I do way more, sometimes I do a little bit less. I have little tricks that I do to keep my walking up. One is I love a hotel, or I love a lounge. I love a hotel lounge too, but I love an airport lounge. But if I'm at an airport where there's not a lounge, or I don't really have time to go to a lounge because I'm between flights, I can't remember the last time I've actually sat down not in a lounge at an airport.
Yeah, you just walk.
I walk, and I don't care. And I drag my carry-on with me, and I will walk. And I've walked for hours before if my flight's delayed. And you get into a big airport, like a big German airport, and it's like middle of night or something, and your flight's screwed up. I will walk until I find an area that's not super crowded, and I will just basically walk laps of it. And if I'm, let's say I'm with my one of my kids, and we're not in the lounge, I'll have them watch my bags while they sit and play on the video game while I just go walk laps. And I'll just keep doing it. And the amazing thing is, of all the millions of times I've done that, all the millions of times of airports I've been in, I've only ever seen 2-3 other people that look like they're walking laps at the airport. It's amazing how sedentary people are, especially Americans, and they just go there and they just sit there, and it's like, it's such a great time to get your blood pumping before a flight or over a layover, and I don't really understand why people don't do that. If I have a layover too somewhere, and I'm not like trying to make like a quick connection, and I can walk between terminals instead of taking a bus or a train, I will always do that too. I will always take the extra walk before I get on the flight.
Oh yeah, for sure. The other thing people underestimate about walking around the airport is the people watching can be exceptional.
Yes, it can. People don't wear suits and top hats and stuff like they used to, unfortunately, when they travel. But most of the time, people, like women, have their a nice purse. Men have nice watches on. Like people do try to like somewhat look their best. A lot of people, and you can see some really interesting stuff. You can also, if you're someplace like LA, you might see a celebrity. So you can, you're wandering around. I've seen.
Who's the most famous person you've met in an airport?
I had Bobby Brown in front of me one time.
The one who was married to
Whitney Houston. Flavor Flav was in front of me one time from Public Enemy.
Did he have his clock around his neck?
He didn't, which is very disappointing.
I feel it would be a little bit pretentious to get on a plane with that massive clock around your neck, but
yeah, probably can't get through security. Yeah, and I'm sure he gets tired because everyone's like, "Hey, what time's our flight?"
Exactly.
But I have seen, and I feel like I've seen a few others, but those are the ones stand out at actually an airport. When I'm at a hotel, like you do, you look at hikes and stuff. What I always do is I look at Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps is amazing.
I look to see where a park is that's close to my hotel, because urban walking is fun, but urban walking some places is awful. Like the sidewalks are all falling apart. Like you're not going to urban walk in Cairo.
No, no, I'm with you. But the other thing about a park is, even if I'm not desperate to go to the park, it's just something to aim for.
Oh yeah, it's fun, and you can go see. Maybe there's a fountain or there's some interesting monument to something. I love like a good like French park. I think are awesome. So yeah, I like doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think pre-planning your walking is quite a good idea. So sometimes I'll a couple of days before I'll download Google Maps offline, and then I'll think, where's my hotel? Where's the nearest park? So a couple of days before I get there, I kind of know what I'm going to do on the first day. But yeah, I think the key is being flexible. The other thing I would definitely say is make it a priority. I've had countless people say to me, well, yeah, I should train on the road. Whereas no matter how light I'm traveling, I always take gear to train in. Just running shoes and a pair of shorts.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a non-negotiable part of the trip. I'm not going to not do it because it didn't suit. I might have a day where I don't do it, but it's a priority. There's no way, if I'm on a trip for a week, there's no way I'm not going to work out at least 3 times. It's just, I'm just going to have to squeeze it in. And if I don't today, then tomorrow I just know maybe I've got to get up early. Maybe I've got to miss that beer after work, whatever it is. But I will, it's absolutely a priority. And I think that's absolutely key, is you have to go with the mindset that this is something you always do. No ifs, no buts.
Yeah, and I tend to work out in the morning because if I'm traveling, because by the afternoon I'm wiped out I'm tired from traveling. I just, I want to have a beer, or I want to take a nap, and if I don't do it first thing in the morning, then I just end up not doing it half the time. I'm not going to work out probably at 7:00 at night after dinner if I'm traveling. It's just not going to happen.
No, I think the other thing you just mentioned, dinner. The other thing I would really always say is think about your nutrition as well. It's great to go out and have fish and chips and a massive burger or whatever it is you want, but you're not going to want to exercise afterwards.
No.
So I always, if I know I'm training in the morning, I have a light breakfast, or I don't have breakfast at all. I just have a coffee, or if I know I'm going to have a massive lunch, I'll make sure I get it done beforehand, because there's no way I'll have the motivation to do it when my belly's stuffed full. So nutrition, I think, is a huge part of staying in shape on the road. And that doesn't mean you can't treat yourself, but if you're treating yourself 3 times a day to a cooked English breakfast, burger at lunch, and a massive meal at dinner, then it's hard to see where working out comes into that trip. And it's also hard to see how you don't get fat even if you do work out.
Yeah, I could have a better diet when I travel, and probably in general. But
I guess you're never traveling that long.
Sometimes I am.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
but a lot of my trips are short. Yeah, a lot of my trips are short, and back to like packing and stuff. So I will always have some sort of shoes, not necessarily running shoes, but really good, comfortable walking shoes. And I'll multi-purpose stuff, and I've worn stuff working out that people would be like, I can't believe you're wearing that working out, but I don't really care as long as it's comfortable. And if I actually go someplace, let's say I go someplace for 2 nights, I'm packing a personal item and that's it, and I'm not going to bring workout stuff. You can just work out in the room in your underwear.
I've done countless push-up and squat workouts just in my boxers. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so think nutrition. And then the other thing, I think, the final thing I would say on this is prioritize your sleep. You cannot have, I cannot have motivation to work out if I haven't had any sleep. And I think a lot of people, myself included, I used to think that sleep was just something that happened at the end of the day. You lie down, you fall asleep, and that's the end of the day. But if you actually, I read an amazing book, Why We Sleep, by Matthew Walker. It was a big bestseller on the New York Times bestseller list. And it was a huge book. He's now quite a celebrity. I actually tried to get him to appear on this podcast. He didn't even reply.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I did. But, yeah.
He's probably sleeping.
Yeah, when he wakes up, he'll hopefully reply. But no, he wrote an amazing book, and it basically outlined what sleep is, why it's necessary, and then habits to prioritize it. And I really took it on board. And to say it's been life-changing would be an understatement. It's remarkable, and it's really hard to do when you're traveling, especially when you're traveling by yourself. You lie in bed, you got your phone or whatever. But I won't put my phone in the same room as where I sleep. So I put it if I'm just in a little hotel room, I put it in the bathroom. I always put it on flight mode at night, so it can never make a noise. It can't disturb me at night. And I make sure that I have a timer and I know I'm going to stop looking at it. So normally it's 10 p.m. I just say, right, 10 p.m. I'm not looking at my phone again. I put it on charge in the bathroom and I read until bedtime. If you take half an hour of not looking at your phone before bed, you will sleep so much better.
Yeah, I try to do that too, where I physically read a book. And I actually have started doing that just very, very recently, where I leave my phone in the bathroom. Because what happens is you wake up in the middle of the night to pee, and then you look at your phone.
Yeah, that's fatal.
And then it's like, then you see something, and you start thinking about some email or something, and I really have tried that very, very recently to stop doing that. But I go to bed early and wake up early, so I don't know how people do it where they go to bed super late and then have to work in the morning and stuff. I don't get that.
No. I've just made sleeping a priority rather than something I do. So I really think about it.
Does he recommend naps?
No. It's not that he doesn't recommend them. He says if you're getting high quality, because sleep isn't just about quantity, it's about quality. As we all know, if you drink 10 pints and then pass out at 3 o'clock in the morning, even if you sleep till midday the next day, you feel tired. You've had 9 hours of something resembling sleep, but it's not quality. So he says if you're getting enough quality and quantity sleep, then you don't need a nap. But I don't think it's the end of the world to have a nap. But personally, I don't feel good on them. So, but I just mean in terms of staying fit on the road, I just make a real point of saying, right, this is when I'm going to sleep. This is when I'm going to look at my phone for the last time, and I'm going to create a calming sleep environment. One thing I actually do is sometimes put ambient noise on if I'm in a city and there's ambulances and all people arguing on the street. I try and get the temperature right. You try and get everything right, and then when you get old like us, you always need a pee in the night. But I make a real point of not thinking when I go for my pee. I try so hard just to not let my brain fire up. But it's easier said than done.
Yes, it is.
Any final tips on staying fit when traveling?
I think that the main thing is just keep moving. And even if you're in Cancun and you're sitting and you're enjoying your vacation, just move. Go on. And I'm such a big believer in walking. I think it's so healthy, and other things are great too, and it's good to be well-rounded with your exercising. But if the average person just went on more walks, they'd be so much happier and healthier. And you see so many people, and they look like they've never been on a walk, or they can't go on a walk very far because they're in such bad shape. I do things where because I do wake up early, and I will go down. Let's say I'm somewhere super, super hot, like when I was in Bali, super hot, muggy during the day. I wake up super early. I would go down to the pool. The pool isn't even open yet, and I would walk laps around the pools. Kind of, and it's shady at that point. It's not that hot, and there's nobody out, and it was super relaxing and a great way to start my day. And then by the time it starts getting hot and the sun comes out, then I would go have breakfast. But I'd already walked, I don't know, maybe like a mile around around the pools. And speaking of pools, another thing I do, let's say I'm somewhere really, really cold, and because I don't really like treadmills. I mean, they're okay, but
no. Well, I don't want to say no one. Treadmills are awful.
Yeah, I don't really like treadmills. So what I'll do, let's say that it is super freezing outside, and I don't really want to go on like a really long walk, and I wake up early in the morning, and I'm not going to go out in freezing weather in Estonia in January and go walk around at 5 in the morning.
No,
What I will do,
you're gonna lose your nose to frostbite.
what I will do is I will go down the pool area, and if I can get in it, even if the pool says it's not open, if I can get in there, I'm not swimming, and I will walk laps around the pool. And I've done that quite a few times, and usually it's really nice in those rooms. Sometimes it's kind of warm, and I just will walk laps around the pool until I kind of get tired, and then I try to midway through I'll switch and to go the other direction just to mix it up and work some different muscles. And then I'll go have breakfast. And I've done that quite a few times. I've even gone with like I'll make tea in my room, take tea down with me, walk around the pool, and then go up and change and go have breakfast. And I think that's a really nice way to start your day. Big hotels, you can just walk down. I've walked around just hallways in hotels. I'm always worried someone's going to think I'm just some like creepy guy walking around the hotel, but I've walked laps.
There is that, but
but that yeah, that's true too. But I've just walked up and down hallways, or found like an empty conference room that's not being used and walked around that. I really just try to keep moving.
I feel like if everybody in the world walked a mile a day, we wouldn't have obesity. Because once you feel that benefit of even moderate exercise,
yeah,
it's incredible. And the remarkable thing about exercise is, if you exercise, meaningful exercise, I don't mean walking a mile, but like if you did a half-hour jog, say, if you do that once a week, you get about 50% of the physiological benefits of exercise. It's incredible. If you work out once a week versus 0, you get half. You're already half the benefit that you can possibly get from exercise. And it's remarkable what a relatively small amount of exercise does for a human body.
No, that's amazing.
So, yeah, if you want my go-to workout, I set a stopwatch at the start of every minute I do something. So it's my absolute standard is 10 squats, 5 push-ups. If you do it 20 times, you've done 200 squats, 100 push-ups. That's a pretty meaningful workout. So
that is a good workout.
That's just my go-to 20-minute clock, and I just do what I got to do.
Yeah, I try to if I'm going on a trip too, I try to do a really big workout the day before I leave.
Oh yeah, for sure, because otherwise you feel like death on the plane if you haven't moved for a few days.
And it feels good to be on the plane and feel a little sore because you worked out so hard the day before, and then you know that you're not going to really work out that day, and your body's kind of recovering while you're traveling. I feel like that feels pretty good. Same on the way back. Work out really hard that morning before you like go to the airport. I think that's really nice too.
Oh man, if I can fit in an uphill hike, because where we live is kind of hilly, if I can get a couple of hours kind of charging uphill, I feel amazing on the plane, and you don't have that stodgy feeling. So yeah, I think that really my keys for staying fit on the road are be flexible. You've got what you've got. It might be the best CrossFit gym in America. It might be a Japanese hotel room where you can just about do lunges and push-ups. It might be a park you can run in or a conference room you walk around. But just be flexible and make it a priority. Don't show up and go, I'll work out if there's a good gym, or I'll see how I feel. Just say, I am someone who works out more days than I don't.
Well, and you need to plan a little bit, because let's say you're staying at a Hilton versus you're staying at an Airbnb. So before your trip, okay, the Hilton has a workout room, so maybe I need workout stuff. I'm going to plan on kind of this. The Airbnb likely doesn't, so you either have to find a gym somewhere to go to, or you're going to try to do a workout in the room itself. And I think it's good to kind of be mentally prepared before you even go on what that's going to look like.
Yeah, I think once you're in the mindset that it's something you do, it's actually pretty easy. If I've got an hour before dinner, I don't think I should work out. I just think, well, that's what I do. I work out every day. So if I've got an hour, then I'm going to work out. And I don't lie in the bed and kind of while away the time. So yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I don't find it easy, but I have to say, as the years have gone by, I find it easier and easier because there is no internal debate. You just do it.
Yep, I agree. It's a priority. And while I say it, read a little bit every day. I hate when you see people on like social media, on like Instagram, and every single thing they post is working out, because I always think, do you work out your brain? Because that's important too. And are you just like I don't know what a good analogy would be, but like a beautiful Ferrari with no engine or something. Like,
yeah, it's all show and no go.
Yeah, you've got to be well-rounded and bring a physical book, read a physical book, read a little bit every day, work out a little bit every day, and be well-rounded. And the other thing that I'm trying to do a little bit every day is just do like a little bit of a Spanish lesson on like Duolingo.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of working my brain that way, and I don't know that it really does much good. But if I spend 5 minutes a day, it does add up, and maybe I'll learn something here and there.
It's better than another 5 minutes looking at whatever crap people look at on social media. That's for sure.
That is true. That is true.
Speaking of which, make sure you give our podcast a like and subscribe. We don't have an Instagram account, do we? No.
No, we don't. Just our own.
Yeah, I think we keep it that way. I have no intention of giving social media any more of my time and attention.
Of your time.
But that was cool, and I really wish my back wasn't in agony because I'm all fired up to work out now. But
yeah,
my time will come.
I'm drinking a beer. I guess I can work out while I'm drinking beer. I think that's okay, right?
You can work out after one. I went to a CrossFit gym once after 2 beers.
Yeah.
Just vomited. Had to run out on the street and vomited. So yeah, I think after 1 beer, you normally, you can't run, but I can lift weights after 1 beer. But
yeah,
two, no way. So
yeah, or you're trying to do it and you're teeting around. That's probably not a good look.
Yeah, exactly. But no, that was good. Hopefully next time we speak, I'll be back to working out.
Hopefully.
All right, we'll speak next week.
Okay, talk soon.